How are you guys? Welcome to Kleros Community Call, December 4, 2024. Year is going, almost finished. Can you believe it? You know, how many things happened in the last year. We will do like a bit later, like a roundup of all of the things that happened in 2024, which was a lot, and feels like things are like accelerating in some way. Sorry, can you hear me? That's the first question to ask.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So, where should I start, Gene? I don't even know where to start. So we already mentioned last week we already about the DevCon. We were at the conference with all the team. We meet there every DevCon conference. As we work remotely, we need some FaceTime, and we met there, and we had a bunch of talks. I was at the Parallel Congress Society moderating a panel on decentralized law. The amazing William gave a talk about oracles, numerical oracles for dispute resolution. Yeah, you can. I mean, maybe you give this update, William, about what was the talk about.
Yeah, so I mean, I talked broadly about number value oracles and their use in different blockchain applications. So, of course, the sort of most well-known number value oracles are typically price oracles, DeFi applications that need values of prices for things, off-chain assets, or even in some cases on-chain assets. But of course, those aren't the only numbers that one might want to have about the off-chain world in blockchain applications, particularly if you have a dispute resolution application like Kleros. Like often the appropriate resolution to the dispute is some number. So I gave an overview of how different people have thought about this question of like what the best sort of crowdsourcing mechanism is that's compatible with attack resistance on blockchains to bring numbers on chain, like what different people have done over time, some of the research we've done, for mechanisms that are compatible with Kleros.
Cool. All of these things about mechanism design and Kleros, justice in general, we are going to organize a conference at the King's College in London in April 24. It's going to be the first ever conference on mechanism design for decentralized justice. We did in the past another conference in Leicester University and a bunch more at the Sorbonne one, but this one. But those conferences were a bit like more generic. Some part of it was about legal aspects. Others were about mechanism design. Others about business. This one is specifically about mechanism design, and it's great to have this specialized because we have an ecosystem which is like larger now, and we have an ecosystem where there is already this need to better understand how this social choice theory works in order to have Kleros become more flexible to address a number of use cases that are starting to pop up, especially coming from the enterprise segment. As you know, we are already resolving disputes in fintech. We started with a company called Lemon, which is an exchange, and they use Kleros for resolving disputes they have with users. This is working extremely well. We are piloting another one with a company from the insurance sector. I mean, people already know what the name is. I can't say it. I mean, don't spread it too much, but it's called the MetLife, and they are interested in using these types of mechanisms to make decisions about what is the right or the fair compensation that a user should require. I mean, should be given based on the contract. A user. I mean, a policy holder. So we are piloting this. We already made, I think, already 3 cases, and with the great results. And this moving forward, we hope it will become a part of the ongoing dispute resolution mechanism for this company. This is done in Mexico, and this is mostly for like lower value cases. But you start by lower value cases. I think type of amounts we are doing is like $2,000 and below. That's all I'm going to say about this. So don't ask more. But this is it's looking extremely good. So that, and then we are having lots of interest from Mexico because of a number of situations that are happening there in Mexico. They are extremely interested in dispute resolution, in the private methods, alternative dispute resolution, because of a number of reforms they are doing in the judiciary, and we are especially well adapted for that because Kleros, as you know, the first case that was accepted by a traditional court in decentralized justice was something that happened in Jalisco, in Mexico, in Guadalajara. And then there is this law that was passed by the Mexican Congress in January that mentioned decentralized justice as a valid method for dispute resolution. Yesterday, I was invited to give a talk at the Judiciary School of the state of Jalisco. Everyone, so this was basically for judges and people already, of course, knew about the case in Jalisco. And also last week on Friday, I gave another talk for the Mexican judiciary, for the federal judiciary of all the country. I was invited to give the keynote talk to this audience of judges that were doing this course. This is a state sponsored program. So this is extremely interesting because it's opening doors for number of new use cases. Some of them just replicate what we are already doing in fintech or maybe insurance. Others are more opening a number of new opportunities. For example, one of the cases that we have discussed is Kleros in the context of like neighborhood disputes. It's something that we are already starting to pilot in Mendoza, in Argentina, and so this can be replicated there. So these were extremely promising avenues, and we hope at least that this will give us lots of new cases for the future. So that thing is happening. Of course, this is slow because putting together one of these use cases requires many meetings, requires explaining how it works, tweaking the system, and this is where a very good piece of news comes, and which is aligned with this work we are doing in business development, which is the launch of Kleros 2.0. As you know, Kleros 2.0 is a very long-term project that we have undertaken from the cooperative, and we launched the first version of Kleros 2.0 right during DevCon, and then we did a bunch of tweaks and some final correction of little bugs that were there, and now it's working amazingly well. As we always said, this enables all of the research that William did in social choice theory will at some point start to be incorporated into this new version of the court, and this includes situations where jurors are whitelisted, jurors where you have one person, one vote, situations where you want jurors to be part of some community. Let's say you only want people who are part of the Kleros community to be drawn as jurors, or you want people who have passed some test to show that they have some skill, like for example, they are experts in insurance disputes. So we get asked that a lot. That was not possible to do with the Kleros 1.0. It's possible to do with 2.0. So what's coming now is starting to implement this new disputes module to have more flexibility in what we can offer to potential partners. Okay, so the court is, if you haven't tried, try the court, because the 2.0 is working. It's amazing. It's just you at some point you even want to get into trouble, so you are you go to trial into Kleros 2.0, because it's fast, it's beautiful, it's snappy, it's cool. So yeah, try it if you haven't. And I will let JB, who is the project leader for Kleros 2.0, to explain a bit the work that was done and the work that is being done now, the fixes, and what is coming in the near future. JB, please.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Federico. So we are quite happy with the progress so far. We've been working on the V2 court for a long time, as you know. And we now have 5 cases resolved on Arbitrum 1. So that's really exciting and motivating to see that the court is actually useful for real use cases, real disputes, and real people. We got a lot of feedback, quirks, and mostly UX related. So that was also very useful to us. We, I think, tackled a lot of those issues. So yeah, I could go into more details. What we've been busy on in the past few weeks. So we've implemented a bunch of things in the front end. If you look at it at v2.kleros.builders, we've added a bunch of statistics. It was the idea was really stolen from the Kleros board website by Koki, who has built this on his own several years ago and is now on the team with us on building the Kleros backend. And Kleros board provided a lot of statistics. We incorporated many of them in the first page that you see in the V2 court. You can see for different time windows, for 7 days, 30 days, or the beginning of times, the courts with the highest number of cases, those with the highest drawing chance, those with the highest reward chance, depending on the parameters of each court and the frequency of disputes. And then if you drill into a specific court, you can get some estimations on the value of one coherent PNK in USD or ETH, or per vote or per case. And then one thing leading to another, Marino actually started implementing a staking simulator, which shows you exactly what your odds are, how your odds are impacted, whether you are staking, depositing more, or withdrawing some PNK in a specific court. So how your odds are changing. That wasn't that as straightforward as we expected because of how the court structure works. We had to take into account the stakes that you might have in child courts. So you have the general court, and then the subcourt is maybe curation. Your odds of being drawn in the general court also depends on the stakes you might have in the curation court. And yeah, so a bunch of other UX improvements. We iterated on the dashboard, adding bits of information, more links. So for example, if you're looking at a court in the front end, it should be clickable. You should be able to click on it and then jump to the page of the court to have more details. Same thing with addresses. If you see an address on the court, it should be clickable, and it should bring you to the Explorer. Same thing for timestamps. usually there's a transaction on chain corresponding to it. So yeah, that's I think the bulk of it for the front end. We are still polishing it. Today we were experimenting with some effects to make it look more alive, something that users might see on other popular websites. And yeah, there's also a lot of work that was put into other things that users don't see that run in the background, like the what we call the Atlas backend. So Koki and several other developers are working on this full time for several months, and this is now supporting everything that has to do with authentication, file uploads for V2, including the V2 apps that are the escrow V2 and curate V2. So that makes it a lot easier now to build new apps, and we might even migrate the existing V1 apps at some point to streamline basically how the apps work, because the V1 apps for some time the V1 and V2 apps will live side by side. And
I mean, maybe explain that. I mean, the apps include like curate, escrow, and things that.
Yes.
So not everyone knows that. Maybe just for people to know what we are referring to the V1 apps.
Yes. So if you've been using Kleros, there's of course the court. There are also some other products built on top of it, such as Curate, which includes the different registries of tags and tokens and many other things. Even the SEER prediction markets are curated. So that's an app that is arbitrable and which is right now using the V1 court. Of course, we want to have these products also working with the V2 court. So we made a new version. Actually, we've rebuilt them from scratch. So there are contracts and front ends completely rebuilt from scratch to be in line with all the technical choices that and UX design choices that we've made for V2. So we have them running on a testnet at the moment, and over time, the community will use apps that are using the V2 court. The V1 apps have been around for a long time. I think the first one was the escrow in 2019.
We could say they belong to a museum now.
Sorry?
We could say they belong to a museum,
Yes. Yeah. Yes. If you're a developer in crypto and you look at the code, you might not even remember. It seems like 8 years away. Some libraries don't exist anymore.
Next time you are, in the Bay Area, you go to the Computer Science Museum and you might find one of the apps, there.
Yeah. So the V2 apps I think are pretty cool as well, and the UX is much better. I don't want to talk too much about the V2 apps because we are not going to make them not just yet available to the community in production. So the next steps we are polishing everything right now to start doing internal reviews of the contracts. Then there will be a more formal round of audits, and after that, those V2 apps can be deployed on Arbitrum, and the access to the court will also be more open. As you might know, right now it's a closed beta. So if you've been a user of Kleros or of the previous testnet, you are eligible for claiming an NFT that gives you access, that allows you to stake on the V2 court. If you're really interested in participating, you can reach out probably to Jean. We are starting to consider on a special case basis. If you've been very active in the community, maybe you already have a pro-humanity profile, or you're very active on Curate, we'll make sure that you can test the V2 beta.
I see the Gov people here, so help us, spread the word about the Kleros 2.0 because it's a very big deal. JB, what's coming in the future? I mean, so this is a beta.
Mhm.
How is the roadmap to the full version, let's say, of Kleros?
So yeah, the full version involves the audits and opening up access to the court and the arbitrator, and allowing arbitrary contracts to send disputes to the court, to the arbitrator, and also working on the, I suppose, DevRel side of things, to make it easy for community developers to build an application that would be arbitrated by Kleros, whether it's writing a contract, whether it's writing an app front end. There are different ways to integrate with Kleros V2. Some use cases don't even need any development, but we'll make sure that this is straightforward. So we need also good documentation. That's going to be very important. There was, and then over time, so we'll deploy the escrow v2 and curate v2. We'll see to maybe have a pro-humanity v2 deployed on Arbitrum that would be connected with the other POH v2 deployments on this chain and Ethereum. The next step is the merge, which, sorry, it's code name we've been using internally. That's the basically seamlessly making any dispute incoming from an existing application from Kleros v1 getting relayed to v2 on Arbitrum, and then the ruling produced by the court on Arbitrum would be then passed back to the arbitrable either on this chain or on Ethereum. And yeah, then there will be a plan to sunset slowly some of the oldest application, but we will make sure that it's very smooth and that there is an alternative present on where the users need it, whether on Arbitrum or somewhere else.
Cool. Well, there you go. V2 is launched. It's being improved as we speak. And at the same time, we are bringing new use cases in the enterprise sector and also in the Web3 ecosystem. I don't know, Marcos, if you have some little update about business development. In the meantime, maybe yeah, maybe William, in the meantime, you can give your update while they do this mic thing.
Sure. So, continuing to be doing a lot of the research that I've probably talked about on previous community calls. I'm thinking a lot recently about SPTs still, and how potentially you can use sort of like clustering algorithms to identify groups of people that have related SPTs, different distinct groups that have like different selections of SPTs, and break them up into get a sense of like what kinds of different clusters of people are in your community, so that you can weight the juror drawing process to try to get people from different clusters, inspired still by a lot of the work by Glenn Wild, who uses a similar, or at least is considered a similar approach for quadratic funding contributions.
By the way, just one thing: he's going to come to the conference at King's College, or participate at least remotely, as he's confirmed. Yeah, go ahead.
I look forward to that discussion that we're gonna have at the conference. So I hope to eventually. So I've already I shared some technical notes on some of this research on our research GitHub. If you pay attention to such things, you can go and find fairly technical and kind of drafty notes there already. But I'll hope to write another blog article talking about some of the updates on these ideas. Beyond that, a lot of interesting research continuing along, continuing to run cool sort of data analysis things on some experiments that Yan has done, our PhD student in Paris too, to try to get a sense of how people behave in practice when you give them multiple choice voting systems, to inform some of our parameter choices for V2. Lots of stuff.
Cool. Thank you, William. Let's see if Marcos is there already.
Hey, Marcos, I'm trying to send you the invite. Okay.
In the meantime, I can tell that we had today the kickoff call for the Kleros Fellowship. This is the 8th batch that we welcomed. I think this is a record number of people we accepted. There is lots of interest now, way more than the previous cohorts, because Kleros is more important, more well-known. So we had a very interesting mix of candidates who will do research for the following 6 months on different aspects of Kleros and from different countries. For example, one of them is a professor in France about constitutional law, and another one is people from Argentina who are going to do research on Kleros use cases in the condominium disputes. Then we will have people from Dominican Republic who are going to do research on energy and dispute resolution in the energy market. And we have one of them is from Guatemala, and he wants to start doing some research, and more than research, also some practical work to see how Kleros could be used in the Guatemala context for disputes happening there in basically small claims and consumer. It's worth noting that this person used to be the Minister of Labor of Guatemala, so he's a cabinet member of a nation state. Now he's doing the fellowship. So that is super interesting, the type of people that we are attracting to decentralized justice movement. And so this is, I'm super excited about the new fellows we have, and looking forward to working with them in the next 6 months to help them succeed in their research. So that is also one. This is, I know, if you ask me, one of the best things we did at Kleros. I mean, one of the main things I'm proud of was the launch of the fellowship in 2018, when people were saying, why do you spend time doing this research thing? So, well, because we are building a movement, and if you want to build a movement, you need to bring more people who want to participate in it. And this was a great way of bringing together like innovative brains in the world of law and also mechanism design and business and dispute resolution. And the payoff of that is something that we are seeing like compounding over time. The famous Jalisco case, that the recognition of the first Kleros ruling into a national court, was done in the context of a fellowship research. So Mauricio Virués, who did this application as his fellowship, research paper, and this became step without which maybe we would not have Kleros being recognized by the Mexican Congress as a valid dispute resolution method in Mexico. So this is, how things start to compound over time, and how, building this community of people who come to the fellowship because they like the research. These are not, many of them, I don't know if maybe they're not even token holders, but they are people who are helping us, putting Kleros into the agenda of universities, of businesses, of government. And, they give a talk, they speak to someone, and then, this is how you get more people interested and more people involved. So, one of the best things we did in the early days of Kleros was, I think, building this fellowship program. And it's going stronger and stronger. I'm super, super proud. The payoff of that was like immense. Okay, so Marcos, are you there now?
Yes, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was speaking before and you were not able to hear me. So yeah, about the BD updates. In first place, we have related to MedLife. That was what Federico mentioned in the beginning. We created the third pilot case and we already sent them like a brief analysis of not the sentence but the result of the jurors, comparing it with the results of the original resolution. And we are going to have a new call next week to start working more in detail with the dispute policy, what is very important for us. It's a good next step. Then about Lemon, we received a new case the last week. There's nothing special there, but the good thing was that they sent us some feedback about the V2, because remember, I think it was the case number 3 or 4 of Lemon resolved in the new court, in the V2, not in the new platform, let's say. And they were really happy because of different things, but most important is because they found it like the UX like better than the previous one, and the fact that we are receiving even more justifications than before, because the court, the blockchain not technica, is more decentralized than before. So this is very important for Lemon and for future let's say Web2 integrations, because most of these kind of customers wanted this kind of decentralization. And then besides that, speaking with Mendoza, we are going to send a new case most probably in the next weeks, and with Cava too. When I say Cava, I refer to City of Buenos Aires. And then Wang Mian and Alex mentioned today that they're still speaking with a few leads that they met in DevCon. And yeah, that's the most important things from the BD side.
Thank you, Marcos. Let's go to Jean. Any updates from the community side?
Yes, we have a couple of updates. Well, the most important is that we sent the rewards for the people that participated on the Foreland contest about the US elections. It was basically a prediction market with play money on this platform created by Polka Markets, and with Kleros arbitrating the results. So we sent the rewards, and we are seeing a couple of people starting to to become jurors for the first time. Some of them will join the Gnosis courts, and some are joining the V2 on Arbitrum. So that's pretty cool. And I've been helping them select the courts and do all the process. And also for people that tried the testnet, the V2 when it was on testnet, and they had a proof of humanity profile too, they received also a reward that we agreed to, that we offered for testers. It was sent today, also on Gnosis chain. And about prediction markets, tomorrow, Clement will be joining a talk with the team from Valerie and Autonolas. They are basically creating infrastructure to run AI agents that compete on prediction markets autonomously, and basically, and they are everything runs on Gnosis chain, and they use, for example, the safe infrastructure to keep the assets still without giving the custody away. And it's
Let me
Mhm.
just say something about this because it's exciting. In 2016, even before Kleros, and I was starting to think about decentralized justice systems, I was invited by Max Kaiser. I mean, you might know Max Kaiser from the Kaiser Report. It was a program, a TV show on Russian TV. And there was an interview, and he asked me, "Yeah, what is this thing? Decentralized, jurors, and this app for solving cases online." And at some point, he asked me, about we are speaking more about AI and how this, could you have, AIs as jurors, for example, and this is this is recorded, and I say, Max, you could have, and this was in the moment, when AI 2016 was, of course, way more rudimentary than what is now. And I was telling him, you could have a dispute between two bots happening in a like a real in a virtual world. People didn't use much the word metaverse. I think it was the virtual reality world, and this dispute could be solved by a panel of partially humans and partially other bots. So this is on record, and this, so I am super happy to see that vision to become like a real, in the sense that now you have these AI agents that can have a dispute between them, and then you will need a panel that will resolve it. So I am seeing things I was thinking almost 10 years ago become a reality now. So yeah, Jim, you can continue.
Yes, it's really crazy sometimes. It also this also started, I think, early this year or at the end of last year, and I tweeted about this. I commented about this, and it looks like it seems like people do not get that this is really happening. And this is actually a viable way of doing some stuff. So in this case, for example, the AI agents are very useful because it's hard to scale the prediction markets to the level of hyper adoption if you don't have lots of different people looking at what's happening and trading with the information that they have on the internet. So basically, the AI agents now allow these markets to be more efficient, and even low value markets can be created. And of course, there will always be the need of a human in some part of the process to check if everything is correct.
At least we hope.
Yes, yeah. At least for now, it's necessary because we noticed, for example, the bots, the AI agents, because that's a better name than a bot. They they sometimes hallucinate some of the things that they're like interpreting from the data that they have, and you have an instance that you can go on reality and correct the answer that they gave. Sometimes it even disagree after that. So and then on that case, then Kleros is called to settle the dispute. So right now, people can participate on this economy. And well, Clement on his talks, he mentioned a couple of other use cases that can leverage that. For example, algorithms for recommendations and things like that. So it's very exciting, and it will be tomorrow. And yeah, I think these are the main updates. I just would like to give a shout out to Marino, because regarding about the V2 beta, he is making lots of quick fixes and improvements on the UI UX, and I really appreciate that. Of course, all the team is helping and doing also their part, but Marino is kind of taking care of the details. So really nice.
Good. Thank you, Gene. Well, future is coming. It's just not evenly distributed yet. The other day I was remembering, and when about prediction markets, it's something I have been following for a long time. I always say this, and there was this blog post I wrote in my personal blog in 2015 when I was saying, I was explaining prediction markets to a general audience, and I was using the example of like a random election from Argentina. The thing that people write now about prediction markets, and how this can be used to use collective intelligence for making predictions that compete with the polls and surveys. This is something that I was writing like almost 10 years ago, and it's the same discourse. I guess, and the funny thing is that in that blog article, I wrote at some point, look, there is this project, prediction market project called Augur. This is going to launch, next month. This was a pre-Augur, type of thing. So imagine how long I have been thinking about these issues. Okay, well, I guess we covered lots of ground today. Thank you guys very much for coming, and keep an eye on V2, because we will have lots of great things coming, and hopefully more cases. Anything else, JB, or someone wants to?
Oh, yeah, just make a big shout out again to the whole development team for pushing this until the finish line. And it's not over yet, but we got somewhere. Of course, Marino, Alej, Harmit, who was fixing the spam issue on the front end at the airport in Bangkok. The whole Atlas team as well, and yeah, the dev team at large.
Yeah, so of course, we are a community, so it's not us. We are already a big team, and lots of people from the community who helped giving feedback, giving advice and everything. So yeah, it is a teamwork. So thank you very much, guys. See you next week, and do go to the course, check it out if you haven't, because it's a really, really cool piece of software. See you guys next week.
See you.
Bye, everyone. See you.
Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.